And now, two guys that survived an evening at a strip club with only $1 between them, Aaron and Jonathan.
Howdy, and welcome to episode 45 of In the Rabbit Hole's Urban Survival Podcast. In this episode, we drink all the eggnog, have a snowball fight with the kids, and get tactical on our shopping experience. We're your hosts, Aaron
and Jonathan,
and you are in the rabbit hole, safe and sound. Today's show is sponsored by Cat's Coffee. If you're looking for truly exceptional coffee to help you survive the morning or the next zombie apocalypse, you need to be drinking Cat's. They specialize in the finest coffee from sources that prioritize environmental responsibility and are fair trade certified. Their goal is to achieve perfection in every cup. Check them out at Cat's, K-A-T-Z as in zebra, coffee.com, or click on their bright green banner on the site and make sure you're dealing with an official sponsor of the show. Again, that's Cat's, K-A-T-Z as in zebra, coffee.com. Okay, so today we're actually going to diverge from the Survival Cheese series to bring you an episode on surviving the holidays.
The most dire thing you're ever going to have to survive.
It is. I think, we were going through things that you should be aware of and tactical methods you should employ when dealing with the holidays. And I think we came up with a few of first, especially, when it comes to family, stay aware, check for your exits, know where they are. But in all seriousness, or
at least as much seriousness as we can put on the holiday season without getting too serious. We want to keep you safe, sound, but, keep a little levity in it.
Drink lots of eggnog. That's what I always say.
Lots of eggnog. So when Aaron tells you later to avoid alcohol, don't listen.
Don't listen. It's the alcohol saying don't drink alcohol.
He's been drinking. I just want to make that clear.
Lots of eggnog. See, I'm getting in my fat content for the day.
So both of our bellies are full from Thanksgiving. We've to give you the pie count at this point. I think I've actually personally put down 2. By myself, so I'm not sticking to my survival chi plan at this point.
You fat bastard.
Which is probably the first thing we should start with. You have to give yourself a little leeway in the holiday season when it comes to planning as far as things like food and your weight might go. Understand there are consequences to those things, but that's all right. It's the holidays. You want to put down a pumpkin pie and a buttermilk pie, you do it.
We were actually, before this show, Jennifer was trying to con us into bringing some pies up into the studio, and I thought that probably wouldn't be good if we sat here and ate pie and ice cream while we did a show and came in with a sugar high. So
I think I'm officially diabetic anyway right now, at least for the next week.
Yeah, I would. I'd be inclined to agree with that. What is it about the holidays that everybody wants to shove sugar down your throat?
I don't know. I showed up at my in-laws' house, and I love my in-laws. I actually happen to get along very well with my in-laws. But my wife made 2 pies, a pumpkin pie and a buttermilk pie. My mother-in-law made a pecan pie and a chess pie. Somebody else made an apple pie. I think it was my sister-in-law. And there may have actually been another pie in there also. I don't know. I think I ate a portion of all of them, and I may have put down the equivalent of an entire buttermilk pie and pumpkin.
See, we lied. This is actually a show about surviving pie.
Yes. Well,
last week was cookies.
There's a method.
Last week was cookies. This week's it's pie.
Yes. So once you're done with your pie on Thanksgiving, Aaron and I were talking about it, and we were reading all these crazy news articles about Black Friday. I mean, I don't know if some of you saw them, but people getting pepper sprayed for an Xbox.
I don't even think that was actually for an Xbox. I think that was for a video game.
Oh, well, there you go. Even better. So for a video game, this woman was willing to pepper spray an entire crowd, commit a felony to save 10%.
If ever there was a time to think survival was a good idea,
yeah.
When we've come to a point in society where someone went into a Walmart with the intention of pepper spraying other people as a tactic
Right.
for being able to get to the video game, the deeply discounted video game that they wanted.
So if, by the way, that woman is listening to this show, we would like to say, shame on you. Shame on you.
But next time I go shopping, I'm taking you with me.
Yeah, and I'm bringing a gas mask, too. Or here's another one. I was just reading an article about a bunch of girls who got into fistfights over... Have you ever seen those jogging pants or sweatpants, and they say, like, pink or juicy or whatever across the back?
I saw Charlie Sheen wearing a pair of those a while back.
I'm sure you did. They're probably someone else's. But apparently a bunch of girls got into a fist fight in a Victoria's Secret over stretchy pants.
Now, I'm going to go ahead and admit, we did look for that video. We couldn't find it.
We couldn't find it. So if you have the video, feel free to submit that to us as well, because we'd like to, for purposes of future survival episodes, we'd like to understand how the tactics might work.
Yes, that's how we're going to legitimize that request.
In that scenario. But with all that going on, the first thing we decided we had to tackle here was surviving shopping.
Yes, I actually had to go to the mall. Luckily, it was the weekend before Thanksgiving, not Black Friday. I needed an emergency iMac over the week, which I actually did. I had time constraints, and I really needed to go. Otherwise, I would have just ordered it online.
Which is why I prefer Cyber Monday to Black Friday.
But, it was funny. I haven't been to the mall in a long time. I avoid them like the plague. And
they're evil.
One of the things that struck me as something that I've had a few rants about before was how unaware most people are as they're shopping. They've got their cell phones stuck in their ear. They're walking around in a daze. They're busy looking at their shopping list. They're busy being irritated that they have to be out shopping. I wasn't even shopping for the holidays, and I was annoyed that I had to be out. I can't imagine the people that were actually shopping for the holidays. But the point is, it's one of the most important times to stay aware of your surroundings, because that's, especially when we look at the fact that we're in a down economy, that is when people do stupid crap, and that's when people will mace someone over an Xbox video game over the holidays. People get nuts, so stay aware, and especially when you're going into the parking garages of these malls and stuff, be aware. Don't have your hands completely loaded down. Don't look like the low-hanging fruit, because that really is, we've talked about it in like the home invasion show and stuff like that, about that's people that are out to do bad things aren't out to make their lives more difficult. I mean, that's already kind of evident by the fact that they're robbing people. They're inherently lazy.
Right, these are people looking for the easy target, and if you make yourself that easy mark by filling your hands with stuff, or here's another one, if you go out in your SUV, fill the back of it with gifts and toys, and don't cover it. I mean,
oh my God, that makes me crazy.
You're just asking for somebody at that point, and I hate to put it this way because you're not asking for it. That's just a ridiculous thing. But in this kind of environment where people really are going for the low-hanging fruit, don't make it easier on them. Make it more difficult. Cover the items. Lock your car. Turn your alarm on. Stay aware. Keep your keys in your hand. All those things. Apparently on the night of, I guess, Thursday night, Friday, really early morning, around 2 o'clock in the morning, a lot of stores opened at midnight after
there was like 5 Walmarts, mostly in California, but 5 Walmarts had shootings in the parking lot.
Yep, and then there was another one in, I think it was outside Chicago, and I could be wrong on that. But I was reading an article about a woman who was mugged and assaulted and beaten because she had packages in her hands. And it turns out that they ended up beating this woman and taking these packages that were worth like under $100 worth of presents. So
it's just sad.
Stay aware. Keep aware of your surroundings. Like Aaron said, don't load yourself down. If you can't keep your keys in your hand, then you've probably got too much stuff with you. This is going to sound crazy. But shop in pairs.
Yes, shop in pairs. That we actually did put that in the show notes. Go as a team. Remember, tactical.
Yeah.
Go as pairs. Especially if, and this has long since been a warning for new mothers or mothers in general that have small children. Criminals know you are going to do whatever it takes to protect that child, and so you're gonna be easy. You're not gonna fight. You're gonna give up your stuff. So there really is a reason to go in pairs. And if you can leave your children with a sitter or someone else, there's no reason to take your kids to the mall and, first of all, subject them to that kind of environment. but also they are in that sense a liability. They're a security risk in that part. So, and husbands, it's time to man up and go with your wife shopping. Trust me, I know how irritating it is, but it's still, that's part of your job.
They make the benches at the mall for us, man. I mean,
they've made them much more comfortable recently.
There are much, and you know what? A lot of malls now have those little areas with massage chairs. Check them out. It's the way to go. Way to go. Get a massage, lay back, wait. Those hours that they spend shopping will just float away.
And remember, stay gray. Wear urban camo.
Exactly. Don't make it look like you're the crazy shopper who's going to buy $5,000 worth of stuff. Stay gray. Look, so just wear normal clothes. Don't dress up for the shopping event.
Now we're being silly here, but this kind of also goes back to the car in that, you're going to the mall. It's not a fashion show. Don't make yourself stand out in ways that don't need to be. And even going beyond presents. I mean, this is the time of year when, like we said, people do stupid shit, and they're trying to gather up as much crap as they can pawn so that they can buy their kid something stupid that their kid doesn't need, or whoever. But the point is, take a little extra caution. Don't leave things out sitting in your car. Through my life, I've been amazed at the things people will break in and steal from a car. It's old tennis shoes. I think my mother had somebody break into her car and they stole her tweezers one time.
Oh, I've known people who had baseball hats stolen out of their car. An $18 baseball hat. I mean, come on.
The window cost more than that.
Exactly. It's absolutely ridiculous. I'm going to add one more thing. So, not just one more thing, but Aaron and I talk a lot about not using credit cards and not building debt. I'm not telling you to have any debt at all. But the use of a credit card during the holiday season might be strategic, actually. And one of the reasons is you have to look into your credit cards and what plans you have and all that kind of stuff. But a lot of credit cards will insure a purchase for a period of time.
Amex does that year round.
Amex does it all the time, but some Visa cards will do it all the time too. And sometimes it's for 30 days, sometimes it's 90, sometimes it's a year. Just depends on what card you have. But take a look at that, because if you do, I'm going to use the example of the person who goes into the parking lot. And if you do get robbed for whatever reason, it's nice to know you have that insurance. In addition to that, let's face it, at the end of the day, they're just presents. It's just money. If somebody does try to rob you at gunpoint for what you have in your hands, you give them the presents. I mean, it is what it is. And that's why I say, in this particular case, use the credit card. But this is one of those things where planning goes a long way. So plan out how much you're going to buy. Don't stretch. Don't go create debt for yourself. But use that credit card. Use the insurance that you've got on that card, and protect yourself.
Yeah, and remember, the holidays are really about friends and family and taking stock of the last year.
It's not about who can buy the biggest present.
It's not about who can buy the biggest present. I mean, that's nice and everything. And I know one of the things, and this may be something that you consider doing within your own family, is that Jen and I have actually set a very low budget for the holidays in what we're allowed to buy each other. And it really is a very strict limit. I think this year we've set it at $250.
Yep.
And quite frankly, there was nothing I really, really wanted, and the holidays don't thrill me to begin with. So whenever she asks me, it's always kind of I don't know, whatever you think I want.
Mm-hmm.
She always has something she does want, and that's fine. But set a budget. The tactical Weimaraner is milling about and making noise. So, but it's really set a budget, set an agreed upon budget that you know you can live with, that's not really going to impact your finances.
Right.
This is the time of year when people stress themselves out for no good reason, thinking that presents equal love. Presents do not equal love.
Right. And the other thing to think about as you buy your presents is a lot of the survival chi we've been talking about. So one of the things I'm doing for my wife, she has a strong interest. She's been riding horses for a long time, and we recently heard about a really brilliant trainer who is going to be coming through Texas soon. And so I've decided to get her a class with that person to, not just buy her something that she's going to use and look pretty with or whatever it might be, but something that really stays with her forever. A class like that is something that builds skills. It builds your intelligence, your knowledge. When you work with animals, that really does help you across the board emotionally. For her, it's definitely a mentally calming kind of thing. So think about those things too. get the biggest bang for your buck. A class like that might not actually cost a lot of money. A lot of people think, oh, well, a day class with an instructor is going to cost a ton of money. Things like these don't have to. I mean, I've seen them for as little as $180. I've seen them for as much as $600.
The knife class you and I are taking together is
$150.
$150, yeah. And
So,
that's for a class with a very famous knife maker.
Right, and that's something Karen got for me for the holidays. And actually, I mean, it's going to happen before the holiday season fully kicks in. But she got that for me, and I'm doing the skills thing for her. And, you know, for us, that's a much more important thing than who got the bigger box. You know, neither one of us got either anything to wrap for the other one. But at the same time, it's kind of neat to say, hey, you know, what did your wife get you? Well, my wife got me a knife sharpening class that every single time I pull out a blade and take a look at a whetstone, I'll think of her. And every time she goes to go ride on a horse, she's thinking, wow, my husband did a really nice thing for me.
So I guess one of the things that, to kind of sum up that section, is make a list and try to think of, besides the plastic crap that we all really don't need in our lives, think of something where you can get friends, family, children, whatever, a class on something that they really enjoy, something that's going to stick with them, not something that's going to break and come about, you know, something that really is genuinely useful in life.
Exactly. Now, for those of you who'd like to buy us some plastic crap, feel free. You know.
Do not send us anything, please.
Just kidding.
No, you're not.
Oh, yeah, whatever. Like you don't want some extra plastic crap laying around.
I think I have enough plastic crap.
Metal crap.
Oh, I do,
Really
especially the kind that has gunpowder inside of it.
Yes, or anything made of titanium. I don't know why.
Well, for me, it's because I'm allergic to everything else.
There you go. So going on. Oh, and by the way, shop at Amazon. I mean, it just makes it so much easier. Get online, get your deals. You can probably find the best deals. It may not be Amazon, but one of the online retailers.
And that really is a great way to avoid the malls. And I know Amazon has...
And a lot of stress, by the way.
Oh, God, yeah.
A huge amount of stress can go
You
away.
can shop in your underwear.
Oh, it's fantastic.
I love it.
Yep.
I always shop in my underwear.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes even when I'm in the office, I take my pants off just to shop in my underwear.
Yeah, that's why I call first.
We did warn you. We were, you know... it was going to be that
punchy.
kind of show today.
We're punchy.
Well, see, we're actually doing the show early in the day. We've got lots of energy. And so
we spent a lot of time with, you know, significant others' families and everything. So we're feeling a little extra punchy. Lots going on. It is the beginning of the holiday season. And I think we're both excited about that too. You know, it doesn't mean a ton for us, but it is nice to know that you can do nice things for your loved ones. It is a nice time to see family and prepare that way. And speaking of family, the other thing you need to survive besides shopping, or one of the other things you need to survive,
I think actually the biggest thing.
Yeah, time with family. And you know, if you start plugging these into Chi, by the way, this comes under the emotional health part of Chi.
Yes.
And probably the community part too, but mostly emotional health. And I'm going to start all this off with a very calming, soothing voice and just tell you, stay calm. Whatever happens, stay calm. Just think Chi, survival Chi.
Don't stab anybody in the eye with the shrimp fork.
Yeah, and as Aaron likes to say, as soon as you enter the room, just make a mental list of all the exits, a little mental checklist, and when things get a little nasty and beyond calm, find an exit, walk outside, bite your tongue, go back inside, and participate in the family fun. And either, depending on your personal temperament, you can avoid alcohol or not.
It's probably, in general, it's probably a good idea. Because what does alcohol really do besides it being a depressant?
Yeah, and
but it is also a impulse inhibitor.
Yes.
So the time when you're most likely to need your impulses to either strangle that one uncle or to maybe not say whatever it is that's, you know, that normally would be filtered to that aunt or cousin or whoever that doesn't agree with everything that you say, you know, that is a time to cut back a little bit on the alcohol. Or if you need to altogether, we're all adults here, so, you know, it's time to act like an adult and don't make what's already a stressful situation for everyone in the room, because that's the other thing. Remember, just as much as you're kind of, oh God, it's time with the family, you know, and it's not that we don't love our family, it's just all of them, all together, all at once. I think I'm breaking out in a sweat right now. But that's not everyone feels that way. So everyone is anxious, and everyone's a little, oh my God, what's that person going to say? So maybe it's time to leave alcohol out of the equation altogether, or not get hammered at somebody else's house. And that really is the key, I think. Is moderation.
Yep. Knowing yourself.
Yeah.
Understand if you're the kind of person who can't have a drink without just getting completely hammered, then try not to have a drink. I think you're going to find the holidays a lot better. I like to practice what I'm preaching here, and so I'm going to admit it. Most likely, I will have, even tonight when I see family, I'll have a drink or two. It's a social thing. We enjoy it as a family together. But I happen to like my in-laws. So for those of you that don't, it might be best to avoid. For those of you who get along, it's probably okay to drink with them. But don't take anything in excess this holiday season. That, of course, I say that after eating 2 pies. But as you're going through it, and it's not just alcohol, it's anything, really take a second before you do whatever you're going to do this season and think through the consequences of what might happen. If you say something, what's going to happen because you said that? And I'll tell you what. In your head, get a little creative to avoid those worst case scenarios. Like I said, if that means finding all the exits in the room and walking outside, do that. If it means going and seeing where all the kids are hanging out and going and playing, a chess game or a checkers game with the kids, do that.
Or it may be the perfect opportunity to take all the kids outside and teach them what a good old-fashioned snowball fight is.
Exactly. That you might piss off their parents, but that might be okay too. That might be the goal.
That's pretty evil of you.
I know.
That's why I hang out with you.
I know.
I hang out. But yeah, avoid getting pulled into arguments. I mean, this is family, and this is friends, so you know who you're going to disagree with about stuff.
Yeah,
and
you know what's going to spark what.
Oh, yeah. We all know how to push each other's buttons. I mean,
you've been doing it for years,
yes,
or decades, or however old you are. This has been going on for a while, and you know that if you mention, and I'm going to use this as an example. If you're one political party and they're the other one, and you know that if you just hit that right button, things are going to go crazy, don't do it. Just don't do it this year.
Yeah, I'll even give you an example. My father and I have very different political views, and I know that he and I cannot have a civil conversation about politics. And so it's, when we get together with family and stuff, that is not the time to have an argument with.
But your dad's fun to poke.
Yeah, that's true. It's pretty entertaining.
I mean, he turns an interesting shade of red.
He does get
really angry.
Yes, but it's fun to do at the office when people expect that from a crazy family that works together. Maybe not in mixed company when everybody's trying to have a pleasant, quiet,
yeah. Well, I
jolly
think,
time.
Maybe that goes to the next point, and brought up this one, which is kind of forget the past and treat your relatives as strangers. And we don't mean that as, don't talk to them or avoid them. But, treat them the same way you would a new person, like a new acquaintance. Maybe avoid politics and religion and talk about things that are going on in the world that aren't related to that. The happy things, the good things. Talk about the good things that happened to you this past year. Spread the survival chi concept. Go out there and talk about what skills you learned this year. Hey, last week I went out and learned how to sharpen all my knives. Or last week I went out and learned to shoot a bow, or whatever it might be. And I think that gets a real interesting conversation going.
Yeah, now would be one of the perfect opportunities to use what we put out in the episode show, I don't remember the number of, but it was pretty recent, the Survival Network.
Yeah.
And that was all about, if you haven't listened to it, go back and listen to it. That is a perfect time because you're obviously listening to a survival show. So it's something you're interested in, and it's something you're probably going to talk about. Even if you have listened to it, maybe it's time to go back and listen to it again because that's going to come up in some form or fashion, or it's something that you're very excited about and you really want to share it with the people that you love, even the people that you love and want to stab in the eye with a shrimp fork. But, that show was really built for that purpose, was those times when you're around people, the people that you most want to share what you're passionate about.
Yeah, and I think this is the time to really kind of just shape up and be the best prepper you can be, in the sense that the urban survivalist that you are, and use all those chi things to stay calm, stay alert, don't get yourself all flustered, because it's just going to come back and bite you. And there's just no point. Just like you would in any stressful situation, take a deep breath, think about it, and move forward.
Yeah, I mean, like we were talking earlier about going and helping kids. There's all kinds of, you've got 50 people crammed into a house that maybe has 2 bathrooms or 1.5 bathrooms. I mean, there's stress right there. Everybody's been eating too much.
Right.
So, maybe that's the time when you offer to help out in the kitchen, or, offer to take the kids outside, or go for a walk and,
Yeah, if you need to, just go for a walk and blow off some steam. I mean,
Yeah.
that's always a nice calming thing to do. Walk down the block, and by the time you get there, I think you're going to find that things aren't as bad as you thought they were. If they're bad, again, a lot of people have great families that they're not worried about, and even the greatest families will create stress.
Yes, because they're family.
Right.
That is their job.
It's okay. By the way, if you think you're the only one out there who is stressed out by your family, I think this is the perfect time to know it's all of us. It's every single one of us. Are you going to talk about the next step in family and such when you have to survive a breakup?
Yes, I was, actually. Thank you for reminding me of that. There was an article I published recently which would kind of seem to be outside the realm of things that I normally write about, but it's actually an article on how to survive a breakup. And there are, I don't think there's a time of year that makes a breakup worse than the holiday.
Right.
You're seeing family, they're going to ask you about that special someone you were dating, and you're going to be constantly reminded over and over that you're broken up. You're going to be visiting friends' homes, going to their parties.
And
they're
you might
going
be
to be
lonely.
asking,
I mean,
and you might be
general
lonely as hell. I mean, that's perfectly acceptable and normal after a breakup. But if that is you, we're not going to turn the rest of the show into a breakup show, but there is an article. We will link to it today. It's on Neil Strauss's website, and it's all about the 8 steps for surviving a breakup. So I think going back to protecting your wallet a little bit about, this really is, and I think we need to go back to it a little more, even though we've already talked about it, because it's so important and it causes so much stress. And it's, this really is not a time we were talking about credit cards earlier. This is not the time to treat credit cards as a temporary loan.
Oh, not at all. You use them for the benefits they may have, but just like everything else, you treat them as if you're using cash. If you don't have the cash on hand to pay that credit card when you're using it, or know that I wouldn't even use it knowing that the money will be there at the end of the month. You use it knowing you have that money now.
Yes.
If you don't have that money now, don't spend that money. Basically, the idea here is don't overextend. If you're using those cards, like I said, I use mine, especially for the insurance and other benefits I get. I use them for travel because of travel benefits I get. I know y'all want your points on your airlines. I am all for all of that. You want to maximize what you get out of those cards and minimize what those cards can hurt you with, which is very high interest rates. Even 10% or 9.9, you'll see a lot. That's a lot of money.
That is a lot.
That is more than twice what my current mortgage is. I mean, you have to really think about that. That's a huge percentage to be paying on money. That's $10 for every $100. That's a big amount of money.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're doing it, don't use them as credit cards. Use them as an alternative method of payment.
Yeah, use them the same way you would use a debit card. And
Exactly.
if you were someone that I mean, we're all adults here.
Right.
If you're not responsible with credit cards, admit to it. And you don't have to admit it to the world, just at least admit it to yourself. And don't use them. And, if that's you, don't use them in the way that we're talking about now. Use a debit card. Or use cash.
Exactly, because you know what? As things get rough, and we don't know, next year could be better, it could be worse than this year. A lot of signs are pointing to next year isn't going to be any better. So when you look at the economy as a whole, you don't want to put yourself in a worse position in an economy that isn't any better. That's not a good route to take. So keep putting yourself in a better position. Budget for your gifts. Set a budget. Stay in the budget. I kind of was joking around with Aaron earlier. I said, make a list and check it twice. I mean that. Make a list. Don't deviate from the list. And make a list and be rational about it. It's Aaron keeps saying it. We're all adults here. So if you can't afford something, it's not about the size of gift you bought somebody. It really isn't. As a little kid, we all think, I got the bigger box or I got the cooler video game. As we get older, I look at the holidays and you get asked what you want all the time. I'm sure a lot of you do too. Your spouses ask, or your significant other or your in-laws or your parents or whoever it might be. I honestly can tell you that I haven't been able to think up a gift that I want. I mean, there's things I want to go do, but it's kind of hard to get a lot of those things as a gift. You can for your spouse. It's a little easier. Like, I knew that Karen really wanted to do this horseback riding thing, so I'm with her every day. We talk about it. I know what her desires are and all that. So to get her something like that was easy. And for those of you thinking I ruined the surprise, I wasn't able to surprise her with it. We had to have a conversation first. So no surprise ruined. Just like the knife sharpening wasn't a surprise for me. But make that list. Check it twice. Really understand who do you need to be buying that many gifts. I looked at my list and really I cut a whole bunch off. Aaron and I have had agreements from first time we ever met.
We've only bought each other gifts on very special occasions.
Yeah, and it's only when it's like something we really know that we can get, and the other person either doesn't know where it is or couldn't find it, or we know we could really surprise them. But I think it's been a total of I think I bought you 2 things and you bought me 2 things.
Mm-hmm.
In the total history of us knowing each other. And that's birthdays, holidays, it doesn't matter. I'd rather spend time with them and hang out and have a drink than worry about whether or not I bought him something or if he bought me something. And then you always have that back and forth of, oh, well, he got me this. Did I get him enough? Avoid all that stress and just agree with your friends. Hey, maybe this year, it's been a tough year for everyone. Let's not exchange gifts. Let's all just maybe we all throw $10 in and have a little party.
Yeah, I think that is an excellent thing. I know we talked, was it last episode? We talked about the fact that as a group of friends, it was last episode. We talked about as a group of friends, we have what we call tea night, and our wives and girlfriends make fun of it because they're like, "Oh, you guys don't really go have tea," and it's like, no, we really do. As a group.
They talk about our pinkies being up and everything, and you know what? I like my pinky up when I'm being classy.
But we really do, as a group of friends. We every week, unless something's come up, we get together as a group of friends and spend 2 or 3 hours together every Thursday night and have. We go to a coffee shop, and some people have coffee, some people have tea. Jason McConnell, the Redneck Resource, eats whatever
they've got at the time.
But that's what's and that's really what the holidays are supposed to be about.
Right.
Aside from the religious aspects, you can put your own. We all have our own religion, so you can put your own religious spin on it. But there's the religious aspect, but it's really about being with the people you care about. So maybe the gift this year is you're giving them the gift of your presence and time to hang out with them, and they're giving you your time. They're giving you their time,
which is actually a great way to talk about this next short topic. But this is normally a time of year where some of you will have time off, some of you won't. And for those of you who are in emergency responder jobs, we thank you for the work that you're doing. By the way, so if I have to think about the things that I'm thankful for, it's the people who are out there doing those jobs. That's one of the things that first responders who are out there, and if you're listening to this show, which I hope you are, thank you. We appreciate what you're doing. But this is a time for the rest of you who have some time off, like myself. I know Aaron's got a little bit of time off too this season, to reconnect with loved ones. Use this time, instead of buying presents, find a way to spend a little bit of time with the people you care about. Your friends, your family, your community. Reconnect with those people. Get involved, do something for them that's nice. Maybe it's not a present. Maybe it is something as simple as coming over and cooking a meal, or inviting them over to your place and cooking a meal.
Mm-hmm.
Work on your survival cheat plans.
Yeah, and that was kind of. I think this is a perfect time to think about that. Mm-hmm. This is a perfect time because you've got some downtime. We've all got some downtime, and maybe instead of sitting in front of the TV watching football or whatever else is on TV.
Yep.
Maybe this is a time to really set aside that time and figure out how you're going to develop your survival cheat plan. How are you going to apply it to your life? And we did say at the beginning of the show, we're going to get back to the remaining episodes of the series.
Yep.
On
and
survival
by the way,
cheat.
we're also going to get into, going into next year, we're going to have a few more shows getting back to the heart of prep and survival.
Yeah.
We've got some more interviews coming up going into next year. That you've read some of what Aaron's done with interviews, and we've got more coming up next year. And we'll start teasing you with a few of them soon. And just remember, at the end of the day, if all else fails and it's all a big mess, in the end, today will soon be the past. And next year's pretty close. And if you develop that plan and get it going, then you can go into next year with a whole new way of looking at things and a real force to drive you through in 2012.
Yeah, and that really was why we started the Survival Cheat series now, so that you have the time to really stop and think about what your next year is going to look like and how you're going to rock your next year. Not just from a surviving doom and gloom, but surviving the everyday crap that comes up.
Yep, so happy Thanksgiving. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, all that good stuff. We'll talk to you before those holidays, so no big deal. But basically, happy beginning of the holiday season.
And with that, we wrap up episode 45. Thank you for joining us. If you liked the podcast, make sure to leave us a review in iTunes. It helps others find us. And if you didn't, well, why not tell us about it using the contact form on the site? Seriously, the show's for you, the listener, and if you have something to say, we're listening. Be sure to connect with us through Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and the Urban Survival Forum through the links on the top right-hand side of the site at www.intherabbithole.com. Also, don't forget to sign up for the newsletter. By connecting with us, you'll receive updates about the site, notifications of new articles, and podcast episodes. That's right, we're not just a podcast. Every week, articles are posted to the site that cover all manner of topics relating to surviving in an urban environment, whether in good times or in extreme circumstances. Show notes are posted with each episode where we invite you to comment on the show, interact with us, interact with each other, and let the world know what you're thinking. From the Lone Star State, till next time, stay safe and sound.